Does
that sound good?
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Genuine Chit-Chat. This week I chat with my friend Molly. Now, I've known Molly for quite a long time, as we get into at the start of the podcast. One of the reasons I want to speak to her is because she's always been an incredibly interesting individual and always quite busy. I mean, as well as being a performing artist and having her own sort of passions and hobbies and being semi-self-employed, which we do delve into, she has 3 jobs. It's like an events producer and facilitator, a marketing officer, and a creative collaborator, or along those sorts of lines of those sort of 3 things. She does go into more details in part 1 and part 2 of the podcast of what she actually does sort of do. So as a sort of brief summary, we talk about, at the very start, we talk about Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit for a few minutes, but we do get off that. I don't want people tuning into this and just listening us to talk about Lord of the Rings and think that's the whole podcast. So we talk about that, we talk about altruism, we talk about stereotypes a little bit, as well as Molly's one-woman show that she did, admitting when you're wrong and how failure is healthy, and we also get into quite a lot about sort of education and university in England, and sort of how to... or kind of pursuing your passion in life, and how Molly kind of went around doing it. Essentially, it's very hard to summarize a podcast like this, because it's not like one specific moment that was spoken about. It's kind of like a long conversation. You know, we all the subjects kind of go together quite nicely, and we go on a nice amount of healthy tangents. So yeah, as I said, this is part 1, and part 2 will be out next week. And at the end of this chat, I'll come back at the end and talk about all the usual sort of jargon. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all the usual social media jazz. And just before we get started, there's a promo from the False Starts podcast. Put a bit of detail to them in the description as well, and I'll be, I imagine, shouting them out on Twitter and all that sort of jazz, so look out for that, and after the promo, we'll be on to the show.
Hello, this is Full Starts Podcast.
And we talk about those films that set themselves up for a sequel that never came.
Here's an episode condensed into 60 seconds. Please to be enjoy. What's our poisons then?
You get what you're given.
That's some foul stuff.
Does this film confirm the existence of God?
Dum 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 dum.
Such a look of confusion on my face.
Yeah, can we do a quick mini review of 4DX? It was so uncomfortable. I had to go sit on the stairs because it was just more enjoyable.
And he looks at the naked lady in front of him, and immediately 150 pressurized egg whites shoots all over him.
It's egg white.
But what was the point in even including it?
To calm his nerves.
They were
But
probably
we
just
don't
placebos.
need him to calm him. Why
He
not
did.
just have
Yes, we
He
did,
did.
because
Why
we saw
not
him
just have
shoot
him
up in air
be calm? Just cut the scene. The film is 2 hours long. Just cut the scene.
So this was a manic time.
Yes, this wasn't like this a bit. This is insanity. What happened to us? I feel.
I guess we'll wrap things up. You can find us wherever you find your podcasts.
Just type Full Starts Pod in. Full Starts Pod in.
The best kind of pudding. That's
That's
pretty much how the shows go. We just use that.
Welcome to Genuine Chit-Chat, where we have honest conversations with interesting people, and I'm your host, Mike Burton. To try and sort of guide the
Does that
conversation.
aim to make money from it? Do you think, or is it?
If I can at some point. I'd have to have so many listeners though. The one of the things that a lot of people are doing is Patreon. That's where people I release the content for free, but then people, if they want to pay, can send me a certain amount of money a month. I do that with a couple of people.
Yeah, and you can do private things for them. Can't
Yeah,
you?
you can. Excuse me, you can release some private shows. No one wants to see that kind of private show. But I've already started recording.
Noises. Oh.
I've got you saying that. Got it. Bam.
Oh.
Yeah, nicely done. Nicely
You
done.
naughty.
Right then, I'm here with my friend Molly and Molly the Wally, and we're going to talk about whatever. I haven't seen each other since school, I think, so that was when we were...
How many years is that?
we were 16, I think, so it's been about eight years. It's been a long time. And we just spent the last 3 hours eating fish and chips. Well, fish and chips without the fish.
Yeah.
Fish and chips without the fish, but with the sausage instead.
Sausages.
Yeah. It doesn't sound right. If you say sausage and chips, people don't understand. It's chips from a fish and chip shop.
Yes.
And also
Yes.
sausage, yeah. Sat on a nice Weymouth beach. looking out. You've got the best view of anyone's house I think I've ever been in. Mm-hmm. I might have to actually take a picture of that and then post it when I post this.
It's nice to wake up to. At 7 a.m. every morning, they've got a truck out here that sort of rakes all the sand. Every morning, 7 a.m.
Is it loud?
No, sometimes I'm awake.
Sometimes I'm awake.
Sometimes
I'm awake. Yeah, I'm gonna.
Mike's now taking a photograph.
That is it. I'll try to do it subtly so no one will hear it. But
right near the Helter Skelter.
That is. Yeah.
So now anyone can find me, actually.
Well, actually, the picture I've got isn't of the Helter Skelter. That's quite picturesque.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna.
That's nice. Looks like we're in Hawaii.
It does, but we're not. We're in Britain, which is very, very different from Hawaii. Very. It couldn't almost be less, but there's a lot of women who are quite scantily clad on the beach.
Yes.
But there's also a lot of dudes with bad tattoos with scantily clad on the beach. So, not really my jam. I have interest. I don't think I asked you this before we start recording. Do you have any tattoos, and do you like tattoos?
I don't have any tattoos. I like tattoos. I have piercings, for anyone who doesn't know me.
Yeah, I can't see you
Just
right now.
my lip piercings and some ear piercings. But other than that, no tattoos. I did think about getting a tattoo.
Of me?
Of you, right on my thigh, quite close.
Inner thigh?
Yes. Yeah,
right,
quite
as close as possible?
Yeah.
Yeah, so your boyfriend could just see me.
See, every time. That I'm naked. Anyway, now everyone's thinking about that. We'll swiftly move on. I was going to get a tattoo of a turtle, or actually a tortoise. No, definitely a turtle, sea turtle.
Yeah.
Because my friend, Zoe, like my best friend, I call her Zoe the turtle. And I just got like this sort of obsession with turtles.
Okay.
And I was going to get one on my foot.
No,
So
well, fair enough. Why didn't you?
just because my feet are fat, really. That's the reason. And I just thought, actually, I could draw a nice picture of a turtle and don't need to have it on my body. Actually, I don't. And it costs money.
It does cost money.
It
Mine
costs money.
cost 350 quid.
Wow. Is that the one on your arm there?
Yeah, that one.
It's very colourful.
Yeah, it was mainly red and black because I'm so edgy, but no,
it's
Star
just-
Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, just getting a whole sleeve. Got some more
Are
money.
you? Going,
Whole
going-
Star Wars sleeve.
Whoa.
Yeah, I really like Star
That's
Wars.
commitment.
It is commitment. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to get the other arm
Are
yet.
you sure? You're going both?
Not both of Star Wars, no. This one's going to be Star Wars. This one, I
Harry
don't know what I'm
Potter.
gonna get. I was half tempted to just have loads of other cool shit I like. Like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings,
I love Lord of the Rings. I've only just started watching the extended editions. I
haven't watched any of those yet.
I've
My
got them
mum's
all
got
on Blu-ray.
them
I got them all.
in plastic wrappers still. So,
You're not allowed to touch them. Ever.
yeah, it's not happening.
Do you see the Hobbit films?
Yeah.
What do you think of the Hobbit films compared to the Lord of the Rings?
It's a good question.
Because I
They're
think
different, aren't they? They're just really different.
I think Hobbit are really consistent, but Lord of the Rings, the third one is better than almost any movie I've ever seen. It's just,
Well, it's because it's through different periods of time, isn't it? Really.
pretty much. Yeah, it's like it's a big story sort of thing. Yeah.
I really like the Hobbit movies. Actually, they're quite easy, really easy to watch.
Yeah.
And I used to read The Hobbit when I was
Oh, did you?
very
Yeah,
little.
Jasmine did as well.
In year 4 when I went to Storrington. I took The Hobbit with me and I had it under my pillow. So when I watched The Hobbit, the one thing that I remembered from the book was them hanging up all their cloaks. That's like the only thing that I can remember from reading the book when I was little.
Well, Legolas wasn't in the book, so they just shouldered him
They
in
just thought, everybody likes
there. Orlando Bloom.
pretty eyes and
What's that? Wooden
long
actor.
dashing hair.
It's like a wooden actor. It's just like, he basically is the same general thing all the time. And it's like, well, he needs
was
a role.
really boring, really, in The Hobbit, I found. He was just-
Yeah, he was also really unnecessary. I mean, I think the movie's great, but there's that bit, which loads of people bring it up, but in the third Hobbit film, where he's on that bridge thing and it breaks, and there's stones falling down, and he jumps off the stones that are falling back up, and it's like, well, elves are light-footed. It's like, okay, there's light-footed and there's literal complete... That doesn't make any sense.
Defying.
It's like you can't put pressure on a rock that's falling enough
Legolas is
to jump off
ninja.
it.
Come on, you can't question him.
The ninja
What I
elf.
really like about the Lord of the Rings films, is like the competition.
Or between Gimli and
Yeah,
Legolas. That's
I
amazing.
love it so much.
Two towels and stuff.
Yeah, that's like my favourite bit. And then
bromance.
Legolas takes down the big creature.
And then it counts as one.
It still counts as one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, their
that.
chemistry is fantastic. Yeah, they're great movies. But we could just talk about Lord of the Rings this whole time.
Yeah,
How about
but
that?
maybe we
I'll
should-
come down here. I'll travel down to Weymouth, a 2 hour drive just to record us talking about Lord of the Rings for 2 hours. I was going to say, because I wrote some notes, but when I say some notes, I mean literally four words.
3 or 4 words.
Well, because when I came down here, I knew vaguely what you did, but I didn't know enough. So I was like, I can't write questions or write any proper notes.
Yeah.
And now that we've spoken about it, so we'll try not to repeat everything that we discussed. But it's like we spoke about so much, and it was so much. Was this so interesting?
Life stories going on.
That's it, exactly. But everyone who knows about me, see, it's going to be me talking about you, asking about you. So, yeah. So I think one of the things is probably it's like theatrical sort of vein of things. I think that's probably where it started, because you went to uni, didn't you? And was it theatre production you did?
Yeah, so in school I did loads of creative stuff. Did all of my GCSEs were creative. Did art, drama, dance and music. I did music before and after school because you're only allowed to take 3 GCSEs. And fast-tracked in dance because I thought that was like my calling. I used to love dance. So I did AS level in school, but then after that I'd had enough. I was like, that's enough. It was really like competitive and sort of whiny.
Clicky.
And female dancers could only dance, femininely, if that's even a word,
right.
And I didn't like that. We had a dance company come in who are still running now, as far as I'm aware, called Two Face Dance Company.
Right.
They're a whole male performance company and they're amazing. I was literally like awe-inspired because they were doing male contemporary dance and it included like popping and locking and sort of break dancing and just those basic skills and, well, not basic skills, but using the basic skills from those practices in their dance. And I was like, that's amazing. I don't want to be doing any of this airy-fairy bullshit. I like that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I was more of a tomboy, I guess, when I was growing up. I was sort of just comfortable being Molly.
You were almost the first almost taste of gender fluidity in a sense.
Yeah.
Not that you were male, you were ever like, oh, I'm male now, but like it was never like a lot of people. It's more so with women, because with men it's a slightly different case. Like I was never really a manly man, but I like a lot of nerdy stuff. But it was like I never really did anything very air quotes feminine or very female. But you never did anything male or female. You just kind of did a bit of everything. Yeah. And it was like, I like dance, but I like doing this as well, and I like doing that. And it was just it's weird because obviously people who don't know you, we went to school together, and you were just universally, you were liked by everyone in the year. You were just, and
there was this one guy who didn't like me, but let's not bring that up.
Okay. the one. But apart
wasn't
from,
very nice to me, but
that one, yes, yeah, I won't bring him up. Apart from them, but because you were the prom queen as well.
Yeah,
Robin.
With Robin, yes,
he's
my
moved
long
to-
time best friend.
He's moved to.
I don't know really where he is.
Switzerland or Lithuania or something like that.
I've kind of lost contact with him, but we've been close friends growing up, and it was amazing, like being prom queen and king.
Yeah, but it was for you.
Besoms,
It was for you. I didn't
it was
get that.
also really sad. It was
or
a
a
really
bow.
sad moment for me, really. It's not really my story to tell, but Robin's mum had not long passed away, and she was my second mum, really.
Oh, okay.
I loved her. She's amazing. She's one of the best people I've ever met. Real role model.
Because
down
Robin
to
was one of
earth.
Reese's best friends as
Yeah.
well, and obviously Reese has been on this podcast with me a
Yeah.
couple of times, so obviously I live with him.
Yeah, so that was a sad moment, but also like really nice moment because Maria didn't get to see that,
Yeah.
and I was I actually cried.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I had a little cry on prom day because
That's all nice.
I was like, she's not here to see it, but also, she would have been super proud about that.
Yeah. It's a weird one with parents, isn't it? Because obviously where my dad passed away when I was 21. 19. It is 19 now. God damn. I moved out when I was 21. I always get this mixed up. Yeah, it was when I was 19, and it's one of those weird things when there's never going to be an ideal time for your parents to die, because it's awful no matter what. But like, if you're like, even if you've got grandkids and they're like 10 and then your parents die, that still sucks because like, oh, now my parents can't see my grandkids grow up.
Yeah.
And there's always
All the
that
things that
thing.
yeah.
My biggest thing that upsets me about Dad is he loves Star Wars, so that's part of the reason I got the Star Wars tat.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But him not being able to see the new Star Wars films. But the main thing is just if I have kids, he won't be able to meet them. That's the main thing of anything else.
Stabby stab, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of those things. It kind of sucks. I mean, fortunately, got to meet my brother's children, which is it's a nice little thing, I mean, unfortunately, one of my brothers. So I've got 2 nephews and 2 nieces, and the nieces are with one of my brothers, and the nephews with another brother. So, but the nephews probably won't ever remember Dad because they're quite young. But whereas my nieces do, both of them. So it's that's quite a nice thing. But yeah, with that prom thing, I remember prom, and I just look like a right prat. I look like a butler. People call me Chives because,
Really?
well, you know, in Drake and Josh, I think they call when Josh is driving. I think Drake calls him Chives or something similar to that. And the guys call me Chives. I had a little bow tie on.
You look cute. You look good.
I didn't look good.
You brushed up well.
I certainly didn't. I look alright in a suit now, but then I look like a
No,
butler.
you were fine. You were fine. We had a great
dreadlocks.
time. Yeah, I had dreadlocks.
Yeah.
Had to wear a dress, which was... But it was 50 quid off.
Really?
Yeah, I bought it online. Didn't spend more than 100 quid on prom.
Nice.
Bought some new lipstick. Bought some high heels that I didn't actually wear until I had to put that crown on. I had to put my shoes back on.
Oh, yeah.
Bought some sunglasses. Bought some sunnies. Got
Sunny
some
Gs.
fake eyelashes. Purple, bright purple.
Interesting choice buying sunglasses for a prom that was in the evening.
Yeah, well, I bought them. They weren't for prom, but I was like, these are really cool. I gotta just
So buy it
take
with
them.
them, yeah.
Just got to bring them with me because,
Yeah.
it's 5 quid. Got to use it. You know?
I think I rented a suit or something, or the bow tie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from I think it's Mossbros or something like that in town.
How much was that though?
I don't know.
Renting.
My parents paid for it, but it was. I think buying a proper nice. They spent a fair
Only
amount
one
of money.
night, isn't it? So
Yeah, I think it cost like 40-ish quid to rent or something with a bit of deposit, but then buying it's like 200. Is that? It was something ridiculous like that. And stuff. The thing is with me now is I can't be asked for formality in a way. I mean, I work as an insurance broker, so I just want to I'd ideally wear pajamas because, like, if obviously it's a really nice day and I've come to Weymouth, so I'm wearing I wouldn't say professional in any way, but I'm wearing shorts and a top. But if we were recording at my place, which what normally happens, I'm in pajama bottoms, normally either Star Wars or Marvel pajamas, and then the top is just something big and baggy, and that's it. Sometimes a hoodie.
That's sort of how I roll.
Yeah, it's just like I'm all about comfort.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's like when I have to look good, I do like putting on a suit for someone's wedding because when everyone's in a suit, everyone looks really good. Everyone makes the effort, it looks cool.
Yeah.
But it's a workplace. I don't like having to be formal in the workplace.
Do you have to be
Yeah,
formal?
except for I wear a...
That's why I'm in the artsy, because I don't have to dress up.
Well, exactly.
Wear whatever I want. Well, within
on
reason.
Fridays, it's casual Fridays.
Yeah, Ben has that.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
boyfriend Ben, for anyone who doesn't know.
Yeah, anyone who doesn't know Molly personally.
Anyone who doesn't know. My
Just in
boyfriend.
case. But everyone already knows you, so it's fine. You don't need to you don't need to pretext that. It's casual, t-shirt, trousers, t-shirt, jeans, that sort of thing. I've worn this a couple of times, but it shows off a bit too much chest hair. I want to clarify. I haven't suddenly become a Christian, by the way, since we've known each other. It's just like my dad had a Saint Christopher.
I assumed it was your father's or something related.
Well, yeah, my dad has one or had one, and I've got that at home, and this one he bought for me when I was 8, I think.
Wow.
Because he always wore it, and I may have said this story in the podcast before, so to anyone who's listening, I'm sorry. But basically, he used to wear it, and he used to jokingly say it was like, it's the patron saint of travel. It's the Saint Christopher. It says maybe a good luck charm. And I remember he always used to wear it and say it brought good luck, and neither me or my dad ever believed in luck. But there's one time he didn't wear it, and we drove back from France, and our car broke down about half a mile from the border. As it not the border, but when you go onto the Eurostar, there's the border bit there. And I remember that really vividly, being like, "That's because he didn't wear the Saint Christopher." I remember something like that. I was like 8 or whatever. And I was like, "It's
always wear it."
Yeah, and he wore that until he got really ill. He was always wearing it, and then obviously when he died, I got it, and then I still got it in my drawer somewhere at home. And I'm going to. Well, yeah. What I'm going to do is, because I got this one, I never take it off, or never, very, very, very rarely do. I'm going to give Dad's one to my kid, and then if I can live long enough to see their kid, buy them one, and then when I die, my great grandkid can have it, and it hopefully can be like a little thing. Yeah. It's also a bit tongue in cheek.
That's always nice, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Having something to pass down.
Yeah, definitely. It's also it's a little bit tongue in cheek because my dad was an agnostic and I'm an atheist, so it's kind of like I really don't believe in the Bible at all, and it's kind of like I sometimes feel like a bit of a douche wearing it, but I think that like I have this weird thing in my head of like a scene that plays out which would never ever happen ever. Just to clarify, but it's almost like get pulled over by the police. All right. I don't speed or do anything that dangerous, but if a tail lights out or something, I don't know. pulled over by the police, they're going to give me a ticket, and then the guy who does it is really religious, sees my pendant and goes, you worship the Lord, do you? And I go, I do actually, yes, we all believe in the Lord. And he's like, really, can you prove that? And I went to Catholic school, so I know the Lord's Prayer. Religion in general does interest me, so I know probably more than the average average secular person about
more
the Bible.
than I would.
Probably.
Yeah.
But I don't know like huge amounts about the Bible, but I know enough to probably blag my way through one conversation, you know? So I just have this weird thing, it's not the reason I wear it.
It's going to get
just,
me out of stuff, you know?
That's what I just think. If I ever got like done for anything, I could just be like, actually, I'm one with the Lord. It's for the church. Actually, I think I'm fine. It's like, can you prove that, Mr. Burton? Yes, I can. Our Father who art in heaven. Hallowed be thy name. I'm not going to do the whole Lord's Prayer because that'd be unnecessary. Oh man, but we talk about prom and stuff.
We started off about creative stuff.
It's all about the tangents. That's all the podcasts are. So you obviously did stuff in school. So then you went to college.
Yeah. So then I decided, dance is not for me. then did 2 drama courses. So I did performing arts and I did drama and theatre studies. I also did media and English language. Okay. I dropped media in the second year because I didn't really get on with the guy who's leading it. Right. And I just was like, nah, maybe not. And I did extended project. Okay. And actually I felt like that was more beneficial to me. I did like this really exciting project. It's all about body language. You come up with your own idea for extended project. And I just came up with this idea and it turned out to be like this massive research project, like sort of evaluating people's body language and also their voice as well. So what I did was I photographed 4 different people and then also recorded them saying the first like paragraph from, I think it was from Harry Potter. And then I got them to I then did a research thing and I got like a classroom full of people and asked them a certain set of questions. They wrote the answers, blah, blah, blah. And I said that there were 8 different people, but actually they were just 4 people. So then at the end I said, right, now actually those 8 people are just 4 people. So now you have to match those 4 faces, 4 bodies, because it's a full body picture, and to those 4 voices. None of them got it right. Really? At all. Wow. None of them got it right at all. One person, they said, looks horrible, would never talk to, got really closed off body language. And then their voice, they were like, oh my God, their voice is amazing. I love their voice. They sound so intelligent. I would love to talk to them. But actually, no, you said you would hate talking to them because of their body language. So it's really interesting about how you judge people's body or their voice before you see both of them. Yeah, it was a lot of thing with people is what a lot of people don't understand is when you talk and interact with people, especially in person, it's so much easier to gauge things because even though there's a lot of consciousness going on where you can see, I can see that Molly's doing this, Molly's doing that, but a lot of the things that happen is your conscious doesn't process it, your subconscious picks up all these little things that, with people. When someone's walking down the street, you can generally tell by thinking about it if they look aggy or not, in air quotes, there's certain stances people have, it's that whole, one thing that bothers me though is the whole arms crossing thing being like closed off, because when I do it, I'm not a closed off person, I'm very open, but it's like, I just often close my arms because I don't know what to do with my arms. It's like doing this is easy, it's like slightly warmer, my hands aren't fiddling with something, I'm giving some of my full attention. You've got more control, don't you? Yeah, if I put them in my pockets, this gets a bit too hot in my pockets. Just dangling. Yeah, just flopping in the breeze, just flailing along, just like hoping for purpose. Do I put them on my hips? I don't know, where do I put my arms? Stand there with your hips like you're confrontational, or like one with the arm out of the teapot, or I don't know. It's but yeah, you did that project in college, and then that was like fun. I never thought I would go to uni actually. Oh really? Yeah, my teacher said that I should go to drama school because I was good at drama. I assume it's different to uni then. That's more aimed to become an actor and stuff. It's like you go through proper intense training, you do Shakespeare, and then you come out and you're an actor, and you're gonna take over the world and have an agent, and then you're going to be in loads of stuff. You'll act in plays, or you're going to go into film and stuff like that, and they sort of push you to go on and do those things. You get a lot of connections and contacts as well for that. They because they've got to have a good, with drama school, they've got to have a good percentage, don't they? Yeah, 80% are working as actors. Oh, really? 20% are doing this, all that sort of thing. So And drama school, why I didn't go, most of the reason is you have to pay. You don't get funds to go.
So it's not, so with university you can get.
So with uni you can get loans.
Yeah.
But drama school they don't accept loans. So either you get a bursary from being really good, but even for that you have to pay to go to auditions. I don't have money, like
Most of our generation don't.
I don't come from a background where my parents can give me money.
Yeah.
I worked in college for a little bit, but that was terrible pay.
Yeah.
0 hours, didn't get a lot of money from that. So I wasn't willing to pay money to go to an audition. I wasn't for that. I didn't agree with it, really. So I didn't end up going. Everyone thought I would, but I decided to just apply for uni. Went to a few places. A lot of them were rubbish. Like I went to Middlesex Uni, and that rubbish for me, shall I say.
Yeah, don't diss universities on my podcast.
I know. Went to Middlesex University, and it just wasn't the right vibe for me. I was just like, I'm not sure about this. The facilities aren't the standard of which I want to go to a university for.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
And, the college that I went to, Barton Peveril, the facilities there were amazing.
Yeah.
So to go to a university and the facilities not be up to standard
And
at
we
that
have to
point
spend
of
so much
time.
money as well.
Yeah, you have to spend a lot of money. So I was like, maybe not. And I went to a few other places and I was like, oh God. But then I applied for Chichester, University of Chichester, and I just really loved it there. It was a really small university, but the teachers, the lecturers were great. They're really down to earth, really knowledgeable, and working in the arts in various different ways.
Yeah.
Some are practitioners, some are got their own company. So they're all doing stuff.
Yeah.
They know their stuff. They're in that world. And so I went to uni and did performing arts degree, theatre performance, at Tri-Uni.
Yeah, what sort? So, do you I assume you still did a dissertation?
Yeah, so you still do dissertation.
You did that one woman
I think
show
a lot
thing,
of
didn't you?
I think a
You said to me on the
lot
beach.
of people think because you do a performance-based degree that you don't do any writing. Well, that's not true, guys. Sorry to burst your bubble. Depends on where you go.
Yeah.
But yes, we did have to do a written dissertation. Did loads of. That's one of the main things that I really liked about uni was reading things, then writing essays, and like having to think of things to respond to, think of things, really philosophical things as well. And I really love that, and that's what I miss about uni actually, is like researching things and then like analysing them, coming up with alternative things and theories as well. Like that's really fun, even though a lot of people don't like it and they're scared of writing, but actually you don't have to be good at writing, you just have to be really curious, and I'm a really nosy person, so like wanting to find out things and question them as well, which is what uni is about in total, really, is questioning things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
80% is you and 20% is the lecturers, whereas in like college or school it's the other way around. You're getting taught, you're not learning yourself, really.
Exactly. That's why a lot of people suffer with university, and that's why I feel like if I'd have gone to uni I may have done, because like I was umming and ahhing about uni. I was tempted to go on a media course, because I did media in college and I did well at media, and there wasn't really anything else in my life I really wanted to pursue. Yeah. Because I kind of, part of me wanted to do something to do with film or some sort of media. I've always kind of been interested by that. I had a little YouTube show.
What
with
about radio now? You're doing podcasts.
Well, funnily enough, I did actually dabble in radio in college, but
did you?
Yeah, but they said it had to be scripted. Because of, I can't remember if it was the Russell Brand and Jonathan Ross thing, but it was something like that.
Oh, right.
Where and a few other instances where if they go off script,
bad things could happen.
Yeah, and people might swear and that sort of thing. And you don't have the freedom, because most of the decent radio stations as well, you have sponsors, so you can't say or talk about certain things. Yeah. If you listen to BBC, because at my old job at Whizbit, when we had Radio 2 and Radio 1 on, just while you're working and stuff, and a lot of the debates, I think it's Radio 2 of Jeremy Vine, you listen to a lot of it, and it was just like, Jeremy Vine can't actually say, he can't agree or disagree with either point, because you have to try and stay neutral, even though BBC is actually owned by Conservatives, but that's irrelevant. It's one of the reasons why whenever there's protests against Conservatives, it's never shown on BBC News, but I'm not going to go down that road right now. No, but with the radio, you've always got someone. I've never liked being told what to do, and a lot of people don't like that, but I like being guided. I'm happy and I like seeking help from people. And when I don't know something, I ask for help, and I love people teaching. But I don't like people forcing you, and that's what I didn't like about college as well.
But university is different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
University that wasn't what I wouldn't like about uni. What I wouldn't like about uni is having to self govern with your own workload.
All right.
Like I'm quite with the podcasting. I set aside a certain amount of time every try to do every day, try and post something on social media just to get the word out with the hashtags and all that shit. And then I interact with people in the podcasting groups I'm in for cross promotion and just to help each other out. And then there's also, actually recording it, releasing it, editing it, all the episode art, making sure it all sounds good, putting it on all the websites, that sort of crap. And I enjoy doing that because it's like a labour of love.
Yeah.
But with university, it's you do it for a specific set goal. And it's like, I want to get a degree because I want to pursue a career. But from college, I had a vague idea I wanted to be an accountant, and I did accounting, and I was like, no.
No, that's not working.
Yes, not for me. So I liked media, but then I was like, there's no guaranteed job at the end of university, and that put me off immediately. And you get put, especially because our generation were the first generation, I think, to get
to be charged.
like $9,000 a year. Well,
Yeah.
it's the universities can choose how much to charge you, but basically due to, I think, the government stopped funding them, they all have to basically charge $9,000 to be able to keep going. Some charge more, I think, than that. So medical schools and things like that, I think it can be 12. So it's just like getting myself in at least 27 grand worth of debt for a degree which would be media, which is not necessarily that helpful.
I think I'm actually in like 40 to 50 grand.
Well, that's what I mean. 27 is minimum.
Yeah.
That's not board. That's not any other money being borrowed. That's literally
but
just.
It's fake
attending.
money, for me. I think it's fake money because it doesn't, that loan, that debt, quote marks, debt. It doesn't exist. When you want to buy a house, it's not considered.
It's not the same as a normal.
It doesn't get taken in account. And also, like, if the government, wants to loan me this money, and I don't have to pay it back until I earn 22 grand, then fine. Like, I'm totally fine with that. And after 30 years, they're meant to wipe it away. So, free money. What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, exactly.
Why do they? That's what I thought. Like, why do they charge so much money for it? Because if they charge less money, they'd probably make more money back. Yeah. That's because you can earn, obviously, like I earn, nowhere near 22 grand. Yeah. I just say that. And so I'm not going to be paying that for a while.
Well, I don't. I work in insurance brokers. I don't earn that. I'm not going to go into what I do earn, but I don't earn 22 grand, so I earn less than that. So,
So, you don't have to pay back.
Yeah.
Until you earn that much money. So if they had done it lower, said it was like 4 grand, then if you earn, 15 grand, which a lot of people can earn. Yeah. If they work, 40, 50 hours.
40 hours, I think 16 to 18 is normal.
And then they would get more their money back. Yeah. This way, where it's so much money and you have to earn 22 grand. I think they've put it down to 21 now, but I don't have to pay that back.
Yeah, and if you don't ever, if you always earn less than that.
And you can always choose to avoid that as well. Oh, I only work 3 days then.
Yeah.
Or actually, even if you do earn that, you only have to pay back like £100 every now and again. And it's like ridiculous. Like, it's not much money. You won't. Yeah. If you're earning 21 grand, then you're not going to miss £100, are you?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I agree. My thing was more just even the thought.
Sorry, I just completely went off.
No, it's good. That's the whole point of this. So I want to talk to you. You're an interesting person. It's it was the tagline of the show, which I don't say very often anymore, is honest conversations for interesting people, and you're my interesting person today. Or this week, or however you want to phrase it. The thing is, it's not necessarily the debt that is, 27 grand of debt. It's more just, if I do earn enough, which I'm aiming to earn more than that in my life, then even though it's paid back incrementally, it's still, if I did pay back 27 grand in total or whatever, that would still be 27 grand I pay back. And if I was like, if I had more of a passion...
you can still work your way up in a different way, can't
you?
Yeah,
if I had the passion, I was like, I know what I want to do, I'm going to do it, I'd be like, yes. But the problem is, because I didn't, and also, I was sick of education by that point, and self-governing just being like, okay, even though with the podcast, and now that I'm 24, I can... I can sort out my own workload a bit. I keep burping because I'm a disgusting human being.
You do it on almost every podcast, I've noticed.
How dare you?
Yeah.
I think I've only
just pointing that out for everyone.
I think I've done it on. I think I've done it about 5 or 6. I think it's just the ones.
Almost. Everyone I've listened to.
Yeah, all the best ones. You only listen to the good ones. I just, with self-governing, it's like, you go for a couple of lectures and then the rest of the time you have to be like, right, I'm not going to do anything enjoyable. I've got to focus. And with me, I get too distracted. But when it's something
Different
I love,
things work for different people, don't they? So I know a lot of people are earning a lot of money and I don't think they even went to college,
Yeah.
because they've had that time not in education, working at the things that they love, and working hard at them and spending that time, and now they're at an amazing place where they're like proper grown-ups. I'm here like, I've only been like a few years out of uni,
Exactly, yeah. What time did you get out of uni? 21?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think what I really liked about uni was because I did a creative subject. It sort of showed me how to do projects, I do the research, then from that research I create this performance or I create this installation.
Yeah.
And you sort of figure out how you want to make work or how you could make work or in loads of other ways you figure out how am I exploring my creativity and how am I going to do something when I leave uni.
Yeah.
Whereas, other subjects might not be anywhere near like that. And so you can work your way up in different ways. Like you said, you did an apprenticeship as well, didn't you? So
and that got me into graphic design and then organising and admin, and it kind of just opened the door.
leaded you to somewhere else that you probably
I think depending on the
better
role,
for you.
depending on the job role as well as the individual, it's like certain people work well just job from the get-go from school or college or whatever straight away. Other people was apprenticeships, other people was university. Everyone's different. What I didn't like about college is at college it seemed to be the second year all they were going on about is UCAS all the time. Just they'd have days where no one would have to go in.
Yeah, it's only
but
uni. You only think about uni. That's all you're allowed to think about.
at college it's like you go, and I was saying, I told them, I was like, I'm not going to uni. They're like, no, but you might. I was like, okay, no, I'm not. It's like, I know that you're saying that you think that I haven't thought this through because I'm like 17 and you think that I don't know what I think, but I am telling you right now as empirical fact, I am not going to go to uni at this moment in my life. I don't know what I want to do.
Yeah.
I'm 6 months away from finishing college. I have absolutely no idea what I want to do with my life.
Which is completely fine.
They didn't see it that way though.
Yeah.
They were always like, there was a day I remember where we had off, and it was like, you have a day off, okay, but everyone has to come in. Why? To the UCAS stuff. And I was like, but I'm not going to uni. You still have to come in. I was like, okay.
I think my college did that as well, actually.
And I went in and I was sat in the classroom in one of the technology computer rooms or whatever, and they were like, are you going to fill in a UCAS form? And I was like, no. And why not? I was like, because I'm not going to university. And they're like, right, but you should at least apply. I was like, why? I was like, why? I was like, why waste my time? I'd rather. Do you have any homework to do? I was like, no, because I got it all done because I'm a productive person. I don't need to be babied into doing stuff.
Yes.
You don't need to sit me here and force me to do it. And they were like, okay, right. And then she got like the woman who was in the classroom got someone else, and then this person came in and said, oh, what? Oh, so you don't want to go to uni? I was like, no. And he was like, why'd you come in then? I was like, because she told me I literally had to. And he looked at her and was like, but you're not going to go? No. And you're not going to do your UCAS form? No. He was like, we can go home then. I was like, thank you. I've been here for an hour, wasting my time, and I had to get up early for this, so thank you very much. And I had to leave. But I think Kieran and Reese, I think they told their tutors or whoever it was that they weren't going to go to uni either, and their tutors seemed to be fine with it. But so I just...
This person just wasn't listening.
Yeah, so I think we will end up meeting up anyway, because on the inset days at school we used to just... Or the days where you have... you go in for like 15 minutes to talk to your tutor, and it's just like... We always would plan it all the same sort of time.
Yeah.
And we'd always come out of college at the same time and just have a day off.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it was.
Well, that just means that your college wasn't doing the right thing, was it? It wasn't looking, oh, right, what are the other avenues for students? You can't just push them all towards university. Some people just can't do that.
Yeah, it's
not right for them at all. Some people don't want to. So, some of it's not right for them.
Yeah.
That's not their way of learning, which is also completely fine. So why didn't your college?
Right, it's one of those things. Some people
That's
just...
really, really bad.
I think it's less the
I
college
hope
and
it's
more the
better than
individual
that,
woman.
Yeah.
But sometimes you get those people who are like really righteous about their own weird causes and stuff. It's like, for example, this topic gets brought up quite a lot on the podcast, but with drug reform, for example, I talk about it quite a lot. But like one thing, regardless of any other drugs, it's just cannabis should be legal just because it doesn't hurt anyone. It's shown in America, it's been fine, all this sort of stuff. It's eventually it's probably going to be. But with it now in Britain, a lot of the police officers, because there are a lot of cuts and stuff, they basically, there was a thing that a lot of the Facebook groups of the Hampshire Constabulary and places like that, they, I don't think Hampshire was one of the ones that specifically said it, but one of the other ones up more north said it. They were like, just so everyone knows, we're not going to arrest people for smoking cannabis anymore. They're like, if you see someone in the street doing it, we'll take it off them or something. If you've got a certain amount on you, we'll take it off you. But they're like, unless you've got like a real large amount or it looks like you're going to deal, we're not going to do anything about it. Okay. Now, with that, even though it's still illegal, obviously, but most or a lot of police officers won't do anything. But there are the odd one, which you'll get, who's a really self-righteous cop who thinks that people who smoke weed is as bad as someone, injecting heroin because they hear drug, you're bad, everything. And then they arrest, if someone's walking out, no one should smoke weed in public. Just to kind of, whether it's legal or not, that's not a good thing to do. But like...
Yeah, there could be children around, have some respect.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the same as drinking. You shouldn't really get absolutely munted in broad public, but it's but with it, you can get certain police officers, they'll catch you with a bit of it, and they'll just be like, just don't do that, take it off, you go. But if people want to, because the law, someone was really self-righteous who's against all drugs, they could arrest you. You can actually get jail time if for somehow they pushed it hard enough. Maybe it wouldn't if it got run through the court or something like that. But like, it depends on the person. And that's with every walk in life. You get people who are like in not shops, but like... But loads of people, when you've had jobs in the past, you just get people, we were talking about earlier, that people with just weird power complexes. They have this weird thing where they just need things to be done in a really specific way, or their
way.
To
calm down, Like,
people do need to
relax.
Smoke some weed.
They need to relax and realise everyone's not the same as them.
Exactly.
And there are other avenues in any aspect.
I was going to say, we were talking about this earlier, just before we started recording, about the kids thing, and you brought up a really good point with kids.
Children.
With children, because you were discussing we
were talking about childbirth, weren't we? And children and having children, because we're at that age now, guys, 24.
A lot of our friends have got kids.
Of our friends have got families,
More
grown up children.
Yeah. Some of the people got kids when they're 18. They got like a little 6-year-old.
Yeah.
My brother Justin, who's 3 years older than me, he's got a 4-year-old, I think, now. So it's just like, Christ.
So cute. But, we were talking about how having children, it's quite a raunchy thing to say, or, I don't know, against the grain thing to say, can be quite narcissistic. We both sort of agreed on that, didn't we?
Yeah,
we
100%.
think
I want to clarify, we don't think everyone who has kids is narcissistic.
But it can be. We think, it can be very narcissistic, and people, going back to the controlling thing, people can be very controlling over their own children.
Yeah.
And that's not okay. Like, you don't own that child. That child does not belong to you. It's not yours to do with however you please, and it shouldn't do whatever you want it to because you're its mother or father. It is a child. It's a person. It has its own thoughts, its own beliefs. It's its own being.
Exactly.
It's not yours. So, that's fine.
It's under your care.
Yeah, it's under your care, your...
family, blood, that sort of thing.
Yeah, you're its guardian, its mentor. That's what you're there to teach it how to live. That's a good way of putting it, you're there to teach it how to grow up, how to live, how to not kill itself. Yeah. Those sort of things.
Don't walk in the road.
You're not there to control everything it does and to crush its creativity or to crush its livelihood.
You can't use your children to live out dreams you failed at.
As well, like, God, that happens so
often. That's a lot
it?
of time, if someone's...
But it's also really hard, isn't it, parenting?
Oh,
and also
there's
not to do that.
Exactly.
It's really difficult not to, impress yourself on your own child because, you want it to have the things that you didn't have. But sometimes, guys, your kids do not want what you want.
Exactly.
And like that teacher, you don't want what that teacher wanted.
No, she wanted me to go to uni because she's got a thing in her head about success being uni.
She thinks that success is university.
And she obviously went to uni because she's a teacher. So she has that mindset of, you should go to uni because I went.
That's what everyone should do, but that's not right. No. So, book closed.
Yeah, it is with kids that it is a strange one where it is obviously... Some people do have kids and they use it as a vessel to kind of... You get it quite a lot with child actors where their parents couldn't be actors, so their kid can, and then their parents... Michael Jackson's dad's probably the biggest, most obvious example everyone probably knows of just his dad, I don't think was in the music industry, or at least certainly not as big as Michael Jackson was.
Yes.
So he basically abused and forced all his kids to basically be in the Jackson 5.
The best entertainers.
Yeah, and he basically... broke his son. Michael Jackson is one of the most talented performers I think ever. He's some of the songs he's written are some of the greatest I think I've ever heard.
Well, and also the dance culture that he brought around.
Well, he
It's
changed
fantastic.
he changed the game. He
He
completely.
cha-
Him,
all-
the Beatles,
most-
and Elvis.
Most dance is based off of Michael Jackson's
Yeah.
moves.
You see some of the stuff he's done over the years. It's madness. And obviously he was broken though. He was fucked in the head. I don't think he was a paedophile, to be honest. In my own opinion, we don't know.
We
That's
have
the
no
problem.
idea.
You don't know what went on in his mind. But from what I believe personally with him was that he thought he almost so much wanted to live as a child. He was almost so naive. Sexuality almost wasn't a thing. Like, I'm not saying I don't know because I didn't know him, but it almost seems like he wouldn't be sexually abusive or anything just by the logic of he had the fairground ride in his back garden. That wasn't, I don't think, to molest kids. That was because he realised he had loads of money and there were loads of kids that didn't.
Yeah.
And so he wanted kids to have a childhood, and he wanted to have that childhood because he never had it, because he's always working.
Back to the impression again.
Exactly, and that's because his dad forced him into that.
Yeah.
So, even though you can, unfortunately, make some real great beings, that's the problem, is that you would normally fuck them up. As well as a child actress.
Yeah,
You get a lot of...
that's the worry, isn't it? I guess of every parent.
Oh,
How
yeah.
do I not destroy my child?
The way I kind of describe being a parent would be you have to raise your kid to be as least fucked up as possible and fucked up in the right ways, because the thing is you're going to
Best
fuck up your
people
kid.
are mad,
Well, that's it. You're going to fuck up your kid. Just flat out. Just to clarify, every parent and people who haven't got kids, anything like that, you will fuck up your child. That's because that's what parents do. That's unfortunately you
It's in
could
the
be.
rule book.
Well, you could be the best parent in the world. You could do everything in air quotes perfectly, but you're going to fuck them up somehow, because if you're 100% completely supportive in all the right ways, that's great. But there's going to be other aspects where maybe because you're so supportive, you're slightly more lax on certain things, and just because of that, they may be, argument's sake, a little bit less organised or something.
Yes.
And then that just makes them a bit of a messy individual. That's not a character flaw necessarily.
No.
But there's no one you meet who go, that's a perfect person. Some people are too OCD or too messy or late all the time or too strict about timings or really weirdly controlling about random things. Or other people just don't give a shit about anything. And there's all these... No one's got everything, everyone's fucked up in some way, and most of the time that starts at least from your parents being fucked up in some way.
Yeah.
So I just kind of look at it as when
So
I have a
who
kid.
was that first person, huh?
Oh, the first...
That ruined us all.
It was Adam and Eve, wasn't it? Of course. It was the God, our Lord and Saviour. It was Adam and Eve were the faults. They were the
God
ones...
damn that apple.
Yes, they were the ones who...
God damn Eve being a curious woman.
How
We
dare
must
she.
Punish the whole world now.
Forever. Literally, the whole human race for the 300,000 years we've been
How
about.
dare you
always
question life?
How dare you ever ask questions about anything ever? Even though it was that. One thing it did crack me up in the Bible, I will say, with religion. Once again, I've got a problem with people being religious or anything like that. And I had a conversation with a buddy of mine called Dom actually about religion as a whole. I'm obviously an atheist. He's a conservative Christian. It's a really good chat. We had about an hour long about religions. Really good. And so I've got a problem with that. But the whole idea of the Adam and Eve thing is like, well, I believe in evolution, and there's a lot of evidence to that. So it probably didn't happen, Adam and Eve. But the funny thing was, when I was told in primary school, because I went to a primary Catholic primary school, I remember them telling me the story, and I was always like, it made no sense to me. They were like, snakes used to have legs, and then because snakes were punished by God for convincing Eve to bite the apple, so he took their legs away, right? But lizards exist. Like, that's all. Like, a lizard.
Oh, yeah.
Like, lizards.
Damn, they didn't think that one through.
Like, I know that you don't necessarily get lizards that are 15 foot long with loads and loads of legs, like giant weird millipedes, but that is basically, lizard is basically a snake with legs, isn't it? Because reptiles are all pretty similar to each other in a lot of ways. But, that just, when I was younger, I always used to ask that, and I used to say to my...
Classic Mike.
That's it.
Yeah.
I used to really annoy my teachers when I was young. I actually corrected my teacher, Miss Halliwell, once in year 6. We were talking about commas, and she was teaching us about commas and grammar. And there's a sentence she wrote on the board, and I said that should have a comma in the middle of it. And she argued with me about it, saying, "You don't tell me how to teach the class, blah, 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 blah." And I was like, "Sorry, miss, but I think there really should be." And she eventually sent me out. And I was like, okay. I got sent out, and for 5-10 minutes, she came back in so I can get you again. Okay, I came back in, there was a comma on the board.
Yeah.
I was like, don't squash my curiosity in my thing.
He was right.
Well, you knew me from school, from secondary school. You knew I was like my fucking complex of thinking I knew everything all the time. And those moments stuck with me.
Yeah.
Where if a teacher just went, "Oh yeah, you're right, Mike, sorry, I missed that. Humans make mistakes. That'd be it."
Yeah.
But instead of people
Yeah,
building...
back to the complex, isn't it?
well,
Yeah.
my dad-
But that was a learning point, wasn't it?
Yeah.
For her to go, she could have been like, well done, that was a test. Well done, I've taught you well.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
now know where a comma should go on the board. Well done, Mike. Everyone say well done, Mike.
Everyone clap, tell Mike he's better than everyone.
You know, she could have handled that a bit better.
Could have
but-
done. And I always remember that as well.
Yeah.
So it's just like one of those weird little things. It's just like, annoying. How annoying is that? But we'll loop back round. And we'll loop it all back round, trying as inorganically as possible. Nice little segue. So we're talking about, obviously you went to uni and did theatrical stuff. With your dissertation, then let's talk about the performance, because was it a one-woman show?
Yeah, so the dissertation was about something completely different. So we did a set of modules like you do. I did a workshop, so I did an installation, and then a solo performance, and then also like a production. So did a production with my friend Emily,
Okay.
and we did a show about being a superhero, actually.
Okay.
Which was good fun. So I basically trained to be a superhero, me and Emily, and we sort of based it on the characters of Batman and Robin. So she was Robin. I, of course, was Batman. And so I had that voice throughout it, you know.
Okay.
Good evening. That's how I introduced the show. And it's good fun. So we trained for like 2 whole months to become like strong superheroes. I was like training to become more sort of fit, get better stamina. And in the show I did over 100 squats, you know.
Really?
Yeah, it was really good.
I don't think I can do that now.
Ask me to do 5 now, probably die. But it was all about back to narcissism, actually, and about to altruism, and how you can never be truly altruistic, and that's you can never be truly charitable.
Out of interest, was that just because when you do good things, you get the good feeling? Is it that sort of idea?
Yeah,
of it?
you do it so you feel good.
Yeah, so
you
it's
know.
kind of like selfish in that way.
It's always selfish.
Or you
And
want people to like you, so
the
you do nice things.
superhero is like the worst character ever, because to be a superhero, to save people, that means you have to think that you're better than everyone else. You also have to think that people need to be saved. And so that is like classic white man syndrome, isn't it? You know, we're the white men, we need to save the world.
Yeah.
All right? Because we know the best. Right?
We're better than
So-
all of you. We've got
yeah.
all the power and all the money because we keep it that
Yeah.
way.
And we also sort of looked into gender stereotypes and stuff, and how women are never really proper real women heroes, really. They've
you're
always
like-
got a phallic object.
Or Wonder
Back to-
Woman,
you know,
she's
you've-
got
you've said-
tiny little
Yeah,
hands on.
you've spoken about Freud, haven't you?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
you know, women always have like a phallic object. You know, an alien, she has a gun, and the gun is always like representing a penis, basically. That's her weapon. That's her manly shaft. And so it's always, you know, that women are always flawed in every way in any sort of superhero movie.
Right.
They've always got flaws. So that's we sort of looked into that a bit, and we sort of tried to represent it throughout the show. It was also about just failure
Right.
as well. So like, you know,
How long was the show of interest?
it's an hour long. Well, it's 45 minutes
Okay.
to an hour.
Oh, wow.
So it's quite a long show. It also commented on like my body. Like my body's really fat, guys. For those of you who don't know me, I've got a fat body, right? So I can't be a good superhero no matter how much I try. I'm never going to be, well, maybe in like 10 years, maybe. But at that time, in that show, I'd never be strong enough, healthy enough to be able to save someone.
Right.
And so it's also talking about, not just talking about like heroes and stuff, it's talking about a whole lot of other things about, you know, how my body is a failure. You know, fat equals failure in society. And so I'm not a successful human body.
Right.
So we sort of talked a little bit about that throughout our show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was fun. We had a lot of water guns and water bombs, and I was going through trials. It was all about me, really. Robin, aka Emily, was my sidekick.
Yeah.
But she was like the pretty woman. She was in like what they call it, unitard,
Oh, yeah.
and like high heels. So that was the way she was getting held back. It was her womanhood. The fact that she had to wear high heels held her back.
Right, I see.
Yeah, so she
yeah.
couldn't really do anything because she's a woman.
That's
and
clever,
her high
yeah.
heels, you know. So that's the sort of things we did. And that was production. That was good fun. So, but you feel terrible after that show. Like when we both did it, we came off stage and we were both crying, just because like you've just spent a whole show trying to do something and you're failing at it. That's the whole point of the show.
Yeah.
But like you do feel terrible. After I cried. I was like, cried into my friend Sasha's shoulder, and I was like, but that was just because it's emotionally and very physically draining, yeah, because you're trying really hard and you're failing really bad.
Did you do well in your? I'm not going to necessarily.
Yeah, we did very well.
How did you do in uni?
My degree, actually, I was a slither off of a first. Actually, I got 69.33, so that's just under a first. To be, if you're 70, if your degree is 70 or over, like after all your units are counted up, that's a first. So basically, if one of my units, I got 69 for one of my units. If that was a 70, I would have got a first. But really, that doesn't mean anything to me. You know, I did the projects. I did really well in some and sort of like normal 2-1s in others. So half 2-1s and half firsts, apart from that one that I got a 69. But I had a great time, did loads of nice things. University of Chichester, guys, if anyone wants to do theatre.
The official sponsor of Genuine Chit-Chat. That'd be good, wouldn't it?
Well, we could.
That'd be nice.
I'll call them up.
I don't think I'd appreciate the amount of swearing I do now. I often complain about education in general. So.
No, well, try uni. We don't do that. We don't. You can have your own expressions.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying all unis and all education in the whole world is bad.
No.
It's my thing whenever I critique education, it's more so school and college, and more just trying, because we were talking about this earlier on the beach as well, where when we talk about the lower sets. And you know, the lower sets, in air quotes, the stupid people, when they're not actually stupid. There's a lot of people in the lower sets.
They just don't fit into the structure of how the school's set out, and that's the bad structure of school.
Wayne, for example, obviously, he was on the podcast. He was in I can't remember what set he was in, but I was in the top set for English, and I think he was in the second top set for English. Well, he's written 2 books. Yeah. And you hear it in the podcast, he's much more articulate than I am.
He's amazing. I loved his podcast.
And he's so much more articulate than I am, and he's more intelligent, and he's got a degree in paleontology. He's got a degree in paleontology and written 2 books, and I was in the higher English class than him. That makes no sense.
You know, the school structure isn't amazing.
No, I mean, granted, you have to have a huge... There's so... basically,
many
everyone goes through
students,
it. So it's so difficult, but they should try and hand-tailor it a bit more. I'd say they should. It's more... They should have more money to be able to do these things, but there's not enough money.
Schools now have to, they have to be money-making machines now. Most of them, there's loads of academies and how they have to make their own money.
Is that what the difference is between? Because I know that
really, that's how I've understood it. Don't quote me on that, but how I see it is academies mostly are run by businesses, and they've got to make money.
Yeah, because it does change. Like certain places do change. Like Chamberlain. When we were going there at the start, it was Chamberlain Park School, and then it became Chamberlain College of the Arts. I think, is it the Academy now or something?
No,
like
I think it still is College for the Arts.
But it's college, and I wonder if calling it a college is any different.
Yeah, I wonder what that does.
Because College of the Arts, maybe if you call yourself an arts college, you get better.
Yeah, you'd get better funding.
And stuff,
yeah, you would get funding for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if that was the sort of thing.
That was probably it, wasn't it?
Yeah, most
call
likely.
Ourselves College for the Arts.
That's what I did wonder about.
Some extra dosh.
Yeah, for the arts, and obviously Chamberlain wasn't one of the highest academic. I mean, I was in top set for relatively everything, and that just shows I'm not one of the smartest people there is. That's very clear. I probably would, education wise, I'd probably put myself maybe second top set ish. That general idea, maybe top set for maths because I was quite good at maths, but like everything else, like second top set, maybe third top set, depending. But I was in top set because everyone else wasn't as high achieving. Now, the thing is though, is that there's so many people at our school who are so much more talented than I am in 100 other ways.
Yeah.
A lot of it was to do with the more vocational things, We had a huge amount of music stuff going on. But even you get people who are in lower sets who are quote unquote the stupid ones, which obviously I want to clarify, I don't think anyone in the lower sets are stupid, but it's the stigma that goes with it. But you get some of those people who would play instruments, and they'd just be amazing at it. Yeah. It's like, Callum. Like Callum was in second top and third top sets, okay? Now, Callum's not stupid at all. He was an engineer for, a mechanic rather, for First Bus for many years. He's currently working in recruitment, and he writes music and lyrics and all these sorts of other things. Yeah. He's incredibly talented, and he's very intelligent.
Successful at what he's doing.
Exactly. Yeah. And he's got, I've had him on the podcast, and we've talked about his music and stuff, and he's in a hardcore band, and it's a brilliant band, and some of his lyrics are fantastic. But because because in the academia and the way they sort of judge things, he didn't it didn't connect with him in the right way.
I think also, like, you don't really know who you are for a long
Fucking
time.
hell, no, not at
And
all.
I think you don't really understand a lot of things for a long time. I know that, only recently, in the last few years, I've really sort of understood, oh yeah, I can do that thing, or
Yeah,
oh
100%.
yeah, I can just, it's realising, you sort of realise yourself more, I think. You become a lot more self-aware,
Yeah.
a lot more aware of, like, what you like, what you don't like, what you want to learn, what you want to do. Like, how on earth are you meant to know what you want to do when you're that age? I have no idea.
Especially when you haven't done anything else.
You know what
when
you
you've only done
enjoy.
education.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And also, like, you have to pick, like, 3 things.
Yeah.
I did all creative subjects, but, like, I also wanted to do French. I also wanted to do history.
I did
But
French and
couldn't-
history,
I
yeah.
couldn't do those things because I also really wanted to do these fun things that I was
Yeah,
doing.
exactly.
And, like, you can't make it, how do you choose? And then, like, in college, you have to have certain grades for certain things. So if you wanted to do history, could you just start history? No. You have to have a
History
GCSE
GCSE or something like
GCSE
that.
and something, or
Yeah.
something like that. So why is it
Stifles you from the
defined?
start.
Why is it so defined so early? Like, it shouldn't be so shut off to you. Oh no, sorry, you can't do that A level because
You didn't make that choice when you
didn't
were
make that choice when you were like 5 years
14.
old.
But it's also like, with me, for example, now I took French as GCSE, and I can't speak French at all. I was terrible at French. But now that the age, then I didn't care really, and I wasn't very interested by it. So I'd taken French in primary school. I did a bit of after school club of French and stuff, even though it didn't sink in.
fancy.
I know very little French at all. But with that, it's now at my age now. If I could enter college now, I wouldn't. I don't think I'd still do media. But
Yeah.
but I wouldn't do everything the same.
Yeah.
I'd probably take another language. Think about it, because I'd like to know another language.
Yeah.
But when you're between the ages of 10 and 18, that's the age where everything around you is changing. You're trying to figure out yourself. You're trying to figure out social dynamics and how the world works and your parents, and you start being more aware of actual problems in life. Like when you're 6 or 7, if you come from a broken home, it's different. But if you don't, generally you don't notice parents arguing that much or what they're arguing about. You don't understand it all. When you get to like 10ish, you start to click onto things. If your parents are having financial difficulties, when you're around 10,
Yeah.
you get the vague idea
Yeah.
of that. Things start clouding over you and shadowing over things. And it's like, at that age where everything is changing so much, it's so hard to figure it out. But I've had this discussion with people before, and I'm not really sure what the I don't know what the solution is. I feel like almost like you'd have to pump in so much money into the educational system, and you'd have to have workshops and huge amount of things have like almost a whole year where every student almost tries out a month or a week or whatever, or in a month tries 4 different things, something like that, of every single different thing for 1 year in between school and college. You just try everything, and then when you want to go into college, whatever you're interested in, you can just do it. You don't have to have a previous, because as you say, like, choosing a GCSE, you choose them when you're 14, I
Like
think.
in year 9, isn't
Yeah.
it?
So it's when you're 13 or 14 years old. Well, you'll make a 13, 14-year-old making a decision of their GCSE, which will affect their choice in college, which will also affect their choice in uni, which will affect their job. You're making a 13-year-old choose their future career. It's like 13-year-olds know fucking nothing.
Yeah.
I was 13. I knew nothing. I
Well,
know
you think you know everything. at
that's the
13,
problem.
don't you?
That's when you start tweaking onto stuff. But no 13-year-olds. Basically, the way I describe children is children. I haven't got a problem with children, but children are just small, weak, stupid people. Because that's what they are, aren't they? It's true
I can't
though.
believe you just said
But it is true though, isn't it? Think about it. Like they don't know anything, because as you grow older, you learn about stuff. Not every 13-year-old's an idiot, but comparatively to a normal adult, if you compare a 30-year-old to a 13-year-old, the 30-year-old is going to be stronger. The 30-year-old is most likely going to be more intelligent, have more ideas of what's going on. And it's just like, because you can't at that age have a good enough understanding of yourself or the world around you, because there's too much. It's like a sensory overload. You can't understand what's going on in your immediate vicinity. So it's just,
I think I might disagree with that a little bit.
Go on, then.
I think, like, you are a completely different person. Like, from me now, 24, looking back to when I was 13, I've still got the same personality.
I find the
sort
core
of
is the
thing.
same, but the
I've
outer
still the
sort of bit.
same core, but yeah, I didn't know everything, but I knew what I thought in that moment, and I still think that's really important. I think some people might misunderstand what you're saying,
Right, okay.
and think that, oh, well, you're just saying that 13-year-olds don't know anything.
Oh,
which,
no, yeah. That's
which
not
is
what I'm
not
saying.
what you're
Yeah,
saying.
I realise that's how it came off.
And I'm just sort of adding to that, like,
Yeah.
obviously, like, you know what you're thinking in that moment,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you can understand the world in that moment, and you do have a voice, and you have the right to have a voice. And I think, but you change, don't you? And then you realise, oh, actually, I didn't know everything at 13, but you still knew what you knew then.
I think comparing.
Yeah.
I think it's more comparing myself now to myself,
Yeah.
because a lot of the podcasters I listen to are older. They're like 30 to 40, and they talk about 20-year-olds being stupid, and 20 people up to the age of
Wow,
25.
are we going to be like that when we're...
Probably. They talk about people being like, oh, when you're 23 or 24, you don't know what you're doing. And it's like, when I was that age, I was an idiot. And I'm obviously 24, and I'm like, but I'm not an idiot. But then when I'm 40, I'm going to think I'm an idiot now.
When you were 13, you thought that as well.
Exactly. So maybe it's more of a
just an
comparative
ageist
thing.
thing happening.
I will be fair. Oh yeah, I will be fair. I'm not saying you shouldn't listen to 13-year-olds and no knowledge comes out, because you get a lot of kids who are even like 7 or 6. Or
Amazing.
anything. They come out with such profound, brilliant, intelligent things.
Yeah.
That I think I might have used this example before on the podcast, but my niece Amelie. And that's the end of part 1. Thanks as always for tuning in, guys. Part 2 will be released next week, so you can look forward to that. And you get I'm sure you're all clamouring for what that example I was going to use for my nieces. Well, no worries, guys. You can wait till next week and all will be revealed. Apart from that, I also, me and Molly do talk about sort of children's intelligence a bit more. We go into more depth into what I sort of meant. I mean, just to clarify, when I said children are all stupid, I don't actually, I think I did clarify a little bit of this, but I don't actually think children are dumb. It's more a comparative of looking back on yourself from 10 years ago, seeing that sort of idea. So if anyone's really angry at me, I'm sorry, but if you would wait for a week, listen to the second part of the podcast, and then if you still think that my justification isn't good enough, then you can start, I don't know, tweeting at me mean things or something. I'm sure you'll do that anyway, but that's fine. And in part 2, we continue to talk about some of the other things that Molly's been doing, putting on events for young people, what she do with £1 million, productivity, what it's like being self-employed, and her actual job role. In the intro, I couldn't figure out what it was. I said like the 3 vague-ish sort of descriptions, but she actually mentions it right at the end of the second part of the podcast, and it's creative collaborator. So that's Molly's one of her job roles of the 3. But yeah, so that's what's coming up in part 2. In the coming weeks, I believe I've got a conversation with my buddy Jack. I can't remember exactly what we talk about. I know that we speak about aliens at some point. So we talk about aliens and we go quite deep into space. Not literally, we talk about going deep into space. And then, I've got a couple other ones lined up. I'm aiming to release a special one on Father's Day, which lands on a Sunday, so we'll keep in the standard schedule. So I should be releasing one then, but I'm not going to give too many details about that yet, just in case it doesn't work out. Another Science But Simple, I think, will be on its way. I try and release one of them every, 6 or 7 episodes or something. And then I've got a few more people sort of lined up in the coming weeks I'm going to be recording with, one of whom used to be or is still in the army. So that's going to be a really interesting chat. And as Molly said at the end of this podcast, she mentioned a transgender person. Nope, that's the end of the next podcast. Spoiler, the end of part 2, me and Molly talk about one of her transgender friends. And I'm hoping that after I release these 2 sort of parts of Molly, then I can eventually get in touch with her and this transgender person, and then potentially have them on the podcast, because I'd really be interested in that sort of chat. Anyway, I think I'm kind of done rambling on. I've put Molly's details in the description. The false starts promo that you heard at the start, that will also, the details of that's in the description. All the usual jargon, follow us on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook, review us on iTunes, but send us DMs or public messages or whatever. Anything is completely acceptable. I think that's basically everything, guys. Thanks as always for tuning in and always listening to me say 100 times in the intros and outros, which I can always hear myself doing it, and it triggers me so badly. But if I try to not do it, it makes it worse. So sorry about that, and I'll speak to you next week.